Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports Overview. This presentation is brought to you by Pleasanton Unified District Social Workers. The presentation is primarily for those who are interested in learning about the Positive School Climate Framework PUSD has implemented at each of our school sites. We will be reviewing what school-wide PBIS is and why we have 3 to 5 school rules. We will cover what behavior expectations are and how students learn about those expectations. Finally, we will discuss how we respond to problem behavior. PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. PBIS provides a multi-tiered system of supports for school sites to organize evidence-based behavioral interventions into an integrated continuum that enhances academic and social behavior outcomes for all students. The fundamental purpose of PBIS is to make schools more effective and equitable learning environments. We do this by making school environments 1. Predictable, 2. Consistent, 3. Positive, and 4. Safe. Schools should provide a continuum of supports that begin with the whole school and extends to intensive wraparound supports for individual students and their families. Implementing school-wide PBIS has led to a reduction in problem behavior, increased academic performance, increased attendance, improved social emotional competence, improved perception of safety, reduction in bullying behaviors, improved organizational efficiency, reduction in staff turnover, and increased perception of teacher efficacy. Evidence-based features of school-wide PBIS include prevention, define and teach positive social expectations, acknowledge positive behavior, arrange consistent, appropriate consequences for problem behavior, ongoing collection and use of data for team-based decision-making, continuum of intensive individual intervention supports, implementation of the systems that support effective practices. Research articles and additional resources and information regarding PBIS can be found at pbis.org. PBIS introduces a school-wide system for all staff and teachers to participate in. By having a school-wide system, the school site may invest in prevention of problem behaviors and areas. For 80 to 90% of students, this system will work for them. For those who it doesn't work, we will implement more targeted interventions. Many schools have been using classroom point systems or behavior plans, and with PBIS have started to implement check-in, check-out, which allows a child to connect with an adult twice a day and work on positive behaviors. We all come from different cultural backgrounds. PBIS takes that into account and acknowledges that by clarifying expected behaviors by using descriptive words. Does it mean the same thing if I told someone from an Anglo background who was from the United States versus someone from an Asian background who was also from the United States to walk appropriately? I don't know. It depends on their culture, their upbringing, their parents. Were they raised in California, in Northern California, or Southern California? All of these things attribute to how a perceived understanding of what walk appropriately means. PBIS, through their clear descriptive language, should allow the student to understand how they should behave. We will get into those examples later. The 3 to 5 positively stated rules are put into place as they are easier to learn and remember, and using them creates a common language. If you have ever asked a student what the school rules are at their school, you most likely will hear a long list of things they are not supposed to do. With PBIS in place, students will let you know what the 3 to 5 rules are and that they apply to the entire school, including their classroom. Having the same rules across staff in school settings provides a predictable, consistent climate, resulting in little to no surprises for staff and students. Behavior expectations are a description of what the school expects student behavior to look like in different school settings. The expectations are guided by the 3 to 5 positively stated school-wide rules and are specific to each setting. The expectations are positively stated, for example, walk in the hallway instead of no running. This also helps cue staff to recognize positive behaviors, not only negative behaviors. Also, the expectations focus on clear, specific behaviors such as keep hand and feet to yourself instead of keep body under control, which is very vague. Here's an example of what a behavior expectation matrix looks like. As you can tell, it is very clear to students what they need to do to be safe while in the hallway. Walk on the right side and allow others to pass. To implement the PBIS framework at each school site, a PBIS team was created which consisted of multiple teachers, an administrator, school counselor, and PBIS coach. The teams were sent to 4 trainings which covered how to create and then implement the Tier 1 interventions. The team worked with school staff to create all parts of the PBIS framework and continues to meet monthly to review school-wide data. Steps to implementing Tier 1 interventions is to teach the 3 to 5 positively stated school rules and behavior expectations to all students and staff. At the same time, staff work towards a 5 to 1 ratio of positive comments made to students versus negative or corrective behaviors. This means that staff should front-load positive comments to students by acknowledging positive behaviors, positive actions taken, and are being prepared for class. We encourage staff to verbally acknowledge students who are caught having positive behaviors and possibly give them a ticket, which they may be able to receive a tangible reward. Lastly, once the student knows the rules and expectations and their behavior has been reinforced, if a student continues to struggle with positive behaviors, we work towards a restorative instead of a punitive approach. Think about this quote. If a child doesn't know how to read, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to swim, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to multiply, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to drive, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to behave, we teach, punish. Why can't we finish the last sentence as automatically as we do others? All students come from different backgrounds, cultures, and parents who have different parenting styles than your own. We must acknowledge that these differences may not align with the school's culture and therefore need to teach students what positive school climate culture is at school. Research shows that behaviors, whether positive or negative, gain attention and tend to be repeated. Front-loading positive comments to students will not only improve the student's behavior, yet create a positive climate and increase a positive teacher and student relationship. Try it at home with your children or with a spouse to see how it can make a difference. Another part of building positive relationships between teachers and students is when a teacher acknowledges a student behavior. They have a conversation with the student regarding what they are acknowledging. For example, Sergio, thank you for picking up Jackie's book for her. You are being very respectful. I want to recognize your good behavior with a caught being good ticket. I really appreciate it when you follow the rules. This tells the student what specific positive behavior they were doing and what rule it is tied to. So I have a feeling I know what you are thinking. Not all children are going to follow the expected behaviors and the rules. What do we do with them? This next step is to have a consistent consequence system. PBIS was created to keep students in their class and activities for more time than they are out. Therefore, at the school sites, we have a consequence system which mostly collects data regarding what the behaviors are and where they take place, in addition to giving a natural consequence for their negative behavior. The idea behind collecting this data is so the school sites may determine if the location of the problem behavior is the problem and preventive measures should be put in place. For example, if the play structure is a problem area, you will look at what needs to take place to stop the behavior. Do you need to add additional staff to supervise the area? Do you need to reteach the rules and expectations to all grade levels or only the 4th grade? However, if you notice that Johnny has difficulty at multiple locations with the same behavior, you would want to look at what the behavior is and what he is trying to get from the behavior. For example, is he trying to get peer attention, adult attention, or is he trying to get an object? Depending on how you answer that question will determine the intervention you would use. Problem behaviors are separated into 2 ways they can be managed. For minor behavior problems, staff manage those. When a problem occurs, the teacher will correct the behavior and reteach the expected behavior. If the behavior occurs again, the teacher will reteach again, hold the student accountable, and possibly have them fill out a processing form. And the teacher will contact the parent to engage in a conversation to stop the behavior from happening again. If the behavior continues, the student will be referred to the school administrators for follow-up to occur. Only with major behaviors are students sent to the office immediately. This has been an overview of the PBIS Tier 1 Interventions Framework. Thank you very much for viewing this presentation. Please remember to reach out to your school site and find out what the 3 to 5 positively stated rules and behavior expectations are and what the acknowledgement system is. Thank you.